Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug Show. It's Doug here, and this is our weekly live stream. Today, we're going to talk about, wait for it, yeah, you're right, ChatGPT again. It's just so popular. People can't get enough of it. In fact, we may not even be able to log in, but I decided to take a slightly different route today. ChatGPT is a virtual assistant, not as a writing tool specifically. Let me know if you could hear me. I can hear myself, which is always a good confirmation. But let me know, are the levels good? Everything sound all right to you? You could let me know in the chat. Say hello. Hit the like button if you appreciate these live streams. And I think it might help other people find the live streams too. Like if you hit the thumbs up, like while we're watching, then maybe YouTube will tell more of the subscribers about it. I don't know how it works really, but like the video if you dig it. I appreciate everyone hopping on today. And like I did a few weeks ago, we have the second camera angle. Now, we'll see if it focuses on me. We'll see how it goes. It's not doing a great job right now, but we have it. It's going in and out. But anyway, we have the second camera angle, which is cool. Just gratuitous, no real reason for it, other than you could see me from a different angle. I'll have to lock in the focus next time. But yeah, we're going to talk about ChatGPT as a virtual assistant, which is kind of how I've been trying to use ChatGPT. And yeah, I got pretty enthusiastic and kind of figured out a couple things. I have some additional ideas on what to do, but encourage you to think about it in the same way, where maybe you're not getting an AI tool more generically to like write all of your content or anything like that. Even if it works in the short term, I don't think that's a long-term route generally, but I don't think that's going to work for very long. If it works for a short time, that's interesting. And if you have the means and I guess patience to try that out, yeah, maybe it's worthwhile. And we see Wes is on. Hey, Wes, what's going on? And Joe is here too. And Zubir, what's up? Good to see you. So if you have any questions, let me know. Quick couple notes here. So I have basically a free set of resources. There's a link in the description. It's nichesiteproject.com/AI resources. And it's kind of like a set of organized notes, some things that I don't publish on YouTube that I put out there. So you could check it out. Actually, quite a few people have joined and checked it out. It's free. It's 100% free. I'm not going to charge for it. It is behind a course platform. It's just the way I organize things. And you sign up there, you put your name and your email, and then I send you the information so that you can log in. So as I'm learning more stuff, as I'm learning more prompts and finding interesting things, I'll go ahead and, add them there. I test it a little bit, make sure it's good to go so that there's not, garbage on there. So let's check. I got a couple more quick announcements. We do have a sponsor I want to point out, and that is Odys Global. They have a 40% off sale during the month of February. It's not all the domains, but there's quite a few in the clearance section. When I looked earlier today, there were 236, some of which I had my eye on anyway. So worth it to check out. We'll have a message from them in a little bit when I need to rest my voice, which reminds me, I don't have to talk that loud. I just do. Okay. Couple other notes. There's some links in the description, but the big thing is Odys. Check it out, and we'll hear more from them. I have a podcast, a lot of the same interviews that you see over here on YouTube, but if you like the audio format, it's on all the big ones, Apple, Spotify, and I have a personal finance podcast as well. So a couple things we'll look at here. Before we get started, Zubir has a great question. He says, I have a question about the future of search, and will blogging still be profitable after tools like ChatGPT? Is it too late to start blogging if money is the end goal? So, a couple big topics here. Number one, these will just be my opinions. I usually don't like to predict the future, but I've gotten a better attitude about it, I guess, because people here, you want to know what people like me, people like me predict for the future, which I would say is a faulty premise at best, and just wildly insane at worst, to ask, because I'm just some person who happens to have a microphone and a camera, 2 cameras today. But the thing is, we can't predict the future, and the people that do have like pretty big claims that seem really certain about things, those are the people that you should really look out for. So I'll say that again. The people that seem really certain, those are the people that you should be really nervous about listening to. They're the hardest to, I guess, they're the hardest. They're the hardest to ignore because they sound so certain about what they're talking about. So your question is, will the future of search and blogging still be profitable? The answer is yes. It will still be profitable. Blogs or something similar have been around for a while. And, before that, before like email newsletters, there were regular newsletters. I'm old enough to remember when you could like sign up for a newsletter, and it was like a cheap magazine, basically. Sometimes it was like a couple sheets, sometimes it was like 15 pages, but like people would write for it. It was like blogging in the old days, very niche specific. I interviewed a friend, Mark Hero, who has a shaving site. You could check the description, or sorry, you can check my channel to get that interview. But he wrote for a ham radio newsletter when he was, I think, in high school, or he just started college, but he was young, and he ended up writing for a ham radio newsletter. So there have always been opportunities to like share your information in the written word. Yes, video is very popular. I am doing video. I'm even doing YouTube shorts these days. And the point is, like, there's always going to be some more advanced technology. However, the written word will still be profitable after tools like ChatGPT. Search also, right? People will still search. Google has like 90+% of the market share. But even with that, there were still millions of people using Bing. And I think most of us here on this live stream, we weren't going to Bing like right off the bat, right? Like I never did. If I used Bing, it was by accident, right? So search will still be around. Some people will use Bing, some people will use DuckDuckGo, some people will use Google. Even when there's other ways to get the information, people will stick to their old habits. How big is that market going to be? I don't know. But just straight up, is blogging still going to be profitable? Yeah. Some people want the long form stories, they want the long form content with a little more personality than just like answering the question. So it'll still be profitable. It will change like it always does. Like whatever it is that you're working on will always change. That is one of those constants, right? It's a cliche. So things will change. You have to adapt and move forward. And if you look, I ramble on sometimes more on the podcast, but if you check out my podcast, Doug Show, which I recommend, I have talked at length about how I started online, which I had no skills at all, no writing skills, no marketing, no SEO. I didn't have any idea about anything. And I started blogging first. I was a guest on a few podcasts over the years. Podcasting was the way I learned about a lot of this stuff. And then eventually I started doing more video, kind of like tutorials and screen share stuff, which if you look back, probably in 2014, when I started to get interested in that, I bet there were people saying, hey, is it too late to get started on YouTube? Is it too late to do tutorials? I already see a couple people doing tutorials that I might want to do. And the fact is, I waited until about 2017, the end of 2016 before I really was able to get started. I mean, there was only so much stuff I could do at one time. So it's okay that I waited until 2017 to really spend more time on YouTube. And when you look back, here we are nearly 6 years later. You're thinking, man, I wish I would have started on YouTube in 2017. You have such a head start, Doug. And when I looked back, 2017, people, I mean, it felt crowded then. It's like, is it too saturated? Should you even bother? So basically, everything along the way, there will be people that have been in the industry for a little while. There will be people that have been, watching on the sidelines, consuming the content, whatever it is, whatever's applicable. And then they'll say it's crowded, it's dead, it's saturated, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so is it too late? No, it's not too late. Like, pick a thing. Like, there's always new stuff. Even don't start a TV show or a TV network or something like that is your first step. But there's new TV networks, there's new TV shows, and it is extremely saturated. It is a completely different business model, but there's always like people or businesses starting up in various industries that are completely saturated. They've been around for a long time, blah, blah, blah. The question, Zubir, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. The question is, like, what do you want to work on? Do you like writing? Do you want to do that? Do you like talking? Do you want to do a podcast? Do you want to do YouTube? Do you want to do short form social media stuff? I mean, social media is not my thing, so I'm not going to do that. But, figure out what you want to spend time on and then spend time on that. All right, guys, what's happening? Good to see you, buddy. And I think I saw in my feed that Alex was going to come back with live stream. So he took a little couple month hiatus there, I think, which is good. And Marky is on. Okay, so I've rambled on for a little while, and it looks like we have a handful of people. So let's talk about using ChatGPT as a VA. So I'm gonna see if ChatGPT is available. Chances are it's not. All right. So ChatGPT is at capacity right now, which people have asked, like, Doug, you're telling us to use this tool, but we can never use it. And the funny thing is, I just happened to be lucky. And whenever I tried to use ChatGPT, it worked. Like, it was maybe a little bit slow, but it worked. So right now we're unable to use it. We have an alternative though. So if people are not aware of this, here's maybe the biggest value you can get from the video. So if ChatGPT is full, you can log into your normal OpenAI account. Then, I think they send you over to the overview area where, you can start with the basics, blah, blah, blah. You can check out the documentation, examples or whatever. So you could pop over here. There's a bunch of examples. You could search for whatever you're looking for, but you could just go over to the playground. And then you can hop over here and look for chat. And basically, this is the chat with the older model. I think it's GPT 3.5, which is DaVinci 3. I think I have my nomenclature right. ChatGPT has more sophistication. It was trained more specifically and was fine-tuned a little bit better. And we're looking at the playground here, and largely it operates the same. It's not quite as good. I would say it's probably like 70% of what ChatGPT is most of the time. The other alternative, which I'll quickly hop over and log in, is paid. I'm an affiliate for Jasper, and you could check out Jasper Chat Beta. And we did a whole comparison last week. So here's my Jasper area, and you could hop over to where's our chat here? Do we still have our chat? I don't see it. We're in Jasper. It was here before. All right, let's click around and see if we could find the chat. Maybe they just relocated it to a different area. Let me know in the chat, anyone, if people have an idea. It used to be, oh, there it is right there. Did I just miss that a minute ago? Anyway, so you can go over here to chat. The thing is, we tested it last week, and basically we ended up with just about the exact same content, really close, the same quality. It was a little bit faster over on the playground because you're not going through the API call. So I think basically Jasper is just using this preset over here with a slightly different interface. I don't think there's any value that you get from it. I'm the worst affiliate in the world because I'm telling you. And in fact, someone left a comment last week. They said they canceled their Jasper subscription because they could just use OpenAI Playground right here. All right. And Joe says that they're sending out the premium invites and it's $20 a month. Yeah, so I signed up for the wait list for the ChatGPT, $20 a month. I think that's a fine value, especially when you look at Jasper. And again, I'm the worst affiliate ever. Hopefully they don't watch the videos. But the thing is, I challenge Jasper or someone, right? Like, what's the extra value that you're getting? Sure, we have these templates here, which I think does provide some value if you don't know what you're looking for. But all it does is provide a little bit more framework. I mean, it's really a framework and they give you the templates, but you could, maybe that is the value. If you don't know exactly what you want, you could hop over here and then kind of, run through. But the thing is, you would kind of understand what you're looking for, I think. And then maybe if you're not getting a huge amount of value, the other part is, if you have a team, I got to get back on topic here, but if you had a team, then you could let them use your Jasper account, which is cool. And then after that, you may be able to tell them, hey, use this template, and then they wouldn't have to make as many decisions and it would be a little bit easier for them. For us today, we're going to use the OpenAI chat. So when you think about like what you would want your AI virtual assistant to do, you have to think about the tasks that you're doing. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I've done. So quick example, I mean, I'm creating like YouTube videos and I'm creating podcasts and stuff like that. So we could just kind of, let's say I have no ideas. I did not rehearse this before. So let's say I have no ideas and I'm thinking I need to do a podcast and I kind of know it needs to be like marketing related. Maybe I could narrow it down. So I'll tell the chat, and maybe I'll zoom in a little bit here so everyone can see it a little bit better. Hopefully I won't forget that I'm zoomed in. So I'll say, I have a marketing podcast. Can you help me come up with ideas? How about for show topics? And then I don't want just random shit, So I'll say, this is kind of going out there. So can you ask follow-up questions to get a better idea about the kind of show topic? I'll say 4 follow-up questions. We may not find success with this, but I'll back it down. I'm trying to challenge it here. So this is the kind of stuff that I would definitely ask ChatGPT. So I say, can you ask follow-up questions to understand more about the show before making suggestions? So this is great. And it actually did a good job. It did exactly what I wanted. So it says, I'm happy to help. What marketing insights do you cover? What topics are the most popular among your listeners? What challenges do you address in the podcast? And how long is each episode? So now it's putting it on me to answer this. So now I'll have to think for a second. while I'm typing and a lot of people are watching, which is always challenging. So we'll keep it simple. I'll say, I talk about niche websites. We'll say affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing in niche websites. We'll say getting traffic and ranking. And I bet I could say I probably don't have to write out sentences. I could probably just say challenges and then colon, and I could say, writing content and ranking in Google. And episodes are, that's an easy one. Well, they are 30 minutes, 30 to 90 minutes. All right, let's see. Okay, so, all right, so they're asking even more questions. What kind of content do you typically write about? How often do you post new episodes? Any recurring guests? Okay, I'll just say you can give me 5 to 10 show topics now. And fingers crossed that it actually remembers the stuff that we told them before. So this is the flaw. This is where the OpenAI GPT 3.5 chat kind of falls flat, and we may not get exactly what we need. Okay, so now we're getting 5 to 10 suggestions, which is cool. And one thing we'll try here, so we have 10 suggestions right off the bat: tracking your affiliate marketing performance, optimizing content for SEO, creating a successful niche website, an interview, engaging copy for social media ads, the right affiliate program, writing compelling product descriptions, keeping up with the latest SEO trends, new sources of traffic, how to retain customers for repeat purchases. So pretty solid. So here's one thing you can use for most of the tools, especially the ones that have like a chat interface like this. You can say, just give me 10 more. Whatever it is, we say, give me 10 more, and see what it comes up with. They were starting to get a little bit off track, but still in the marketing realm, which I think is fine. So now we're getting even more. Okay, so we have show ideas. I'm going to pick one that seems a little interesting. So we'll say optimizing content for SEO. Great. So now what we're going to do is we'll ask for, can you provide, you don't have to be so formal. I could just say, give me a detailed outline for a podcast, and then I'll put in optimizing your content for SEO, and we'll go from there and we'll see what we can do. Okay. So we have 5 segments: explain the basics, discuss different types, focusing on optimizing content, and showcasing SEO tools, the role of SEO through analytics, and summarize. Perfect. So we have an outline. I would like a little bit more detail. So specifically, we're not going to do every one. But more detail for segment 1. And we'll see. So you could do this for each segment, right? So this is one of the things that you would, maybe not have to do with ChatGPT. When you ask for a detailed outline, usually it does give you a little bit more of a detailed outline. So if you do this for each one of the 5 segments here, then you end up with a whole set of things to talk about. And hopefully you are knowledgeable about whatever it is you're doing research on. And then you're able to, fill in the gaps, put in your own thoughts and stuff like that. But you get the idea here. I can use the same content to basically write a blog post. I can do a YouTube video. I can do the podcast. I could probably create the show notes based on this as well. So pretty straightforward to get a lot of content, and you kind of have to massage it and like go through. But this is where, I challenge people to, tell me what extra value that something like Jasper is able to give us if you have, if you are going through these steps anyway, and you're like, I know what I need to do. Like we just do it the same way each time. Now, maybe over here on Jasper, you have like the editing interface. So if you, let me show you really quick. So with Jasper, you can get the output here, which is, something that I used last time, but you could open it in a document, right? That's going to make me sign in again, it looks like. Okay, so we're over here in a document, and I don't know if it did anything for me here. It should have moved the data. It should have moved the content over there. But the point is, we're using the playground. We have to like copy and paste it over like whenever we're doing something, which isn't hard, but as far as a workflow, it's not quite as optimized as Jasper. So there's some value there. Whenever I try to make fun of Jasper, I end up saying, you know what? It is a little bit helpful here and there. I don't know if you're getting all the value from it, but it's doing something, right? So let me check something else here. So we're back, and so I just needed to reload here. So basically, we end up with Jasper. We took the stuff from the chat, we placed it into the editor, which does have some value because here we can actually, write a little bit more. Now, going back over here, we have created the outline. We got more detail. Let's go a little bit deeper. So can you provide a YouTube script? And we'll just focus on segment 1. And so segment 1. And then I'll also say, here is the outline. Actually, let's see if it can remember. Please use the outline. You don't have to say please. It doesn't care. Use the outline from before. Okay, and then I'll hop back and answer some questions here. Okay, so we end up with kind of a short answer, but that is my fault. So let's check something else here. So one thing, we have the presets, and that is generally giving us a maximum length of 150, right? So we have the intro. Welcome to our podcast on optimizing your content for SEO. Today, we're going to be talking about why SEO is important for businesses and marketers and how you can use it to your advantage. We'll also discuss the different components of SEO and provide tips and tricks on how to research, use, and optimize in your content. That is great. That sounds fantastic. It's concise. There's no grammar issues. Like, that sounds good. So segment 1, we say, let's start by discussing why SEO is important. Having your content appear in the top spots of search engine results pages can give your business an edge over and here's where we have the maximum length set to 150 because it's kind of a chat situation. But with DaVinci 3, that is the model that we are using, it'll actually go up to 4,000 tokens. And I'm going to put it to 2,000. You know what? I can just type it in. I'm going to put it to 2,000. All right. So 2,000, and I think that's 1,500 words. So it'll go up to 1,500 words. I hope it doesn't. We don't need that much for this example. So actually, let's just make it 1,000. All right. So 1,000 is 750 words approximately. It's not exact, but approximately. So I'll tell it to keep going with your answer. Reply. I can't type. And let's see what happens here. Okay. So, and it knew what it was going to keep saying, but it just ran out of tokens here. So going over the edge with competition, getting more traffic, ultimately more sales. So, and it's a casual, like approachable way to write this. So we'll say, I'm just going to read like another sentence or two. So once you've done your keyword research, the next step is to use keywords naturally in your content. It's important not to go overboard with keywords as it can lead to penalties from search engines. Instead, focus on using keywords in a natural way that still conveys your message accurately. And they give a little conclusion after that. So as you can see, it does a pretty damn good job. We based it on the detailed outline here. And it maybe missed a couple things. I mean, they mentioned, a specific keyword tool like Keyword Planner, but you could put in your own stuff. And this is where it's a virtual assistant, right? It can get you the outline. It's not 100% right. It's probably 70 to 90% good enough. And then you could go in, if you have your own opinions about stuff, and you could put in the keyword tool that you like to use. Maybe you have specific thoughts on one of the other areas. And in that case, again, you could just fill in what you think, and it's a good starting point. You also have the script. So if you were doing a YouTube video, you could have a script that you put in your teleprompter. You could just use that directly. Again, I would encourage people to customize it so that you don't end up with some nonsense or stuff that you don't know about or care about. You could put your own spin on it, of course. So let's hop back. Let's answer some questions really quick. Thanks for the other folks that popped in here. Be sure to say hello. So Zubir says, your answer clears my confusion. I just thought as ChatGPT becomes more and more mainstream and streamlined, people will feel lazy reading blogs, and I'm just starting now. Got it. So one of the flaws, let's switch the camera, see if I can stay in focus. So one of the flaws with ChatGPT is sometimes it's just fucking wrong, right? It's just based on other content that it's put together, other content that it's consumed, and whatever they trained it on. And I have a video, which I think it's in a playlist now. And any of these AI tools are biased in at least two ways. One is based on how they're algorithmically written, like the software behind it. And then the other is the data that it's trained on. So the data that it's trained on and the algorithm can lead it to say certain things. Depending on what you're writing about, it may not make a difference. But let's say it's a somewhat political topic. There's probably at least two really distinct different ways that the content can be approached. And in that case, you may end up with some weird results. The other thing is it might just be wrong. So if I write in something that's an opinion, something like which guitar is best for something, it may give you some recommendation and sound really certain, but it could be off, right? It could give you a recommendation based on a simple question. What guitar should I get? And it gives you some answer. But really, it should ask you some other stuff like, what are you going to play? What's your budget? Have you played guitar before? Handful of things. So some people are a little bit lazy, but once you get into it, you may find that it's not giving you quite the right information. That said, I can see, Google search results are kind of starting, depending on what you're searching for, it's not that great. Like I'd rather get an answer from somewhere else than having to read through a bunch of people that are publishing garbage content and they don't know anything about it. I'd rather, get an answer from somewhere else. So, but overall, you say, hey, I'm thinking of starting now. You could pick whatever you want. Basically all of the, as long as it's not like some huge pyramid scheme fraud situation, any of the business models that you're thinking of will work fine. So you need to figure out what you want to spend time on. All right. Joe says, I don't know the fellow, but a guy has created a free Chrome extension that brings templates to ChatGPT and it allows the community to build them. That's a cool idea. Yeah, that's a cool idea. I think I have been getting some emails because a lot of people are creating tools like that. And one thing I was slightly worried about is just like the data, what they're doing with the data. I mean, some of these people, I don't know who you're talking about, but generally, strangers on the internet, you maybe don't want to trust them. So depending on what you're working on, you may want to hold it closer to the chest. That is some, there's a little bit of value in that. Okay. Zubir says, I think it turns some of your answers into topics. Perfect. Rich says, I'm canceling my Jasper subscription today. If you could, figure out, I mean, I still have my subscription right now. I might need to do some other videos. And the thing is, man, I would say be weary of people that are like, keep using Jasper, or any of the tools, right? There's some that provide specific value. For example, I interviewed Pankil Shah from Outranking.io. If you watch the interview at the end, I'm challenging him. I'm like, hey, what value is Outranking bringing on top of ChatGPT? I mean, all the tools out there are using the old technology, and ChatGPT is able to provide something a little bit better. And for Outranking, it specifically is an SEO driven tool. It's very niche down. So it does some very specific things to help you write the content. And it also has a real-time search so that, if you're trying to write, it actually analyzes, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it's 10 to 20 of the top search results. So you actually get information from the results real time, what's ranking right then. And I asked him specifically, is it a real-time search or is it, some interval of time every week there's something new? And he told me that it was real time. Trevor says, I just watched Right Sonic Zoom and they suggested to use an action word at the start of a prompt. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. An action word, i.e. a verb, right? Okay. So I was going to tell you guys something else. I'm going to rest my voice for a second. I'm going to roll the ad from Odys. And as I mentioned before, 40% off. They have a coupon code SALE, all caps. And there are a handful of different, domains. There's over 200 on sale for the month of February. So go check it out. The good ones are probably going to go fast. Here's a word from Odys. Brought to you by Odys Global, the source for premium age domains. That's domains that mean business. Now, cool thing going on right now is a little sale. This is through the month of February 2023, and you can save 40% on selected domains. There's quite a few of them, 236, and some that I've featured before, so definitely take a look. There's a link in the show notes and description here so you can check it out. And the featured domain for today that we're going to take a look at is Decolonize Your Diet. And it's 10 years old, has 207 unique referring domains. And as you might imagine, you can sort of orient this around recipes and culture and dieting, maybe even weight loss, but it gets a little bit more complicated than that. And I'll show you what this site was originally all about. But if we take a look, you do have a little logo here that comes along with the domain, like all the Odys domains. And there's tons of great links. But let's go look a little bit deeper at Ahrefs. So it has a domain rating of 23 and a URL rating of 34. You could see, there were still, links coming along. No funny business. Occasionally, when you look at the number of referring domains, you'll see a big jump that sort of indicates they were messing around with it. Now, this could have been something sort of natural where some links showed up in, I don't know, like the comments or something like that on an archive page or on the sidebar, and then it kind of went away here. But as I mentioned, it's about 10 years old, started in late 2013. And if we take a look at the organic search here, if my mouse will work, you can see it was getting some traffic all the way up until 20 or maybe the end of 2019 or so, and it was ranking for a handful of terms. So here's the interesting part, and we'll take a look at the referring domains in a second. When I went back to check out what was on the site, this is over on the Wayback Machine. It is a kind of based on a book. So there's 100 vegetarian recipes based on Mesoamerican culture, and you can see decolonize is actually more of a nod to the culture than anything else, right? And we didn't pick that up when we looked at the Odys global specific site, but you can see they have a cookbook, they have media resources and other details here, and we're not going to dive in too far, but you get the idea that this was a little bit different than just some diet website. So if you did have maybe your culture is South American, or maybe you have the Mesoamerican culture that you can reference, maybe that's part of your heritage, this would be a perfect domain. Now, it is vegetarian, so you could lean into that if you weren't into the Mesoamerican culture and stuff like that. Here are the domains, referring domains. We have 148. Let's check out the do follow ones. There was a Wikipedia, Medium. So we have NBC News, we have Vice, The Star, we have sbs.com.au, kqed.org, and Mother Jones, orange.com. Anyway, you can see there's some pretty badass domains. We have SF Weekly, we have sfsu, edu, williams.edu. So quite a few edu links as well. And on that note, let's actually hop back and look at the backlink profile. So 118 do follow. We have 4 edu and a total number of backlinks, right around 2,000 do follow. So this is kind of a cool one to check out. Big thing though, maybe that specific domain is not one that you're interested in. Have a look at the domains that are on sale. So 40% off. There's a coupon code. If you click over, you can see very clearly, what coupon code you would need to use. It's just sale, right? Coupon code sale, all caps. But you could have a look here and filter along. There's Planet Extinction. There's Malvine. There's Plus TV Belize.com. Handful of others. 236 of them. So definitely have a look. If you join using my affiliate link, you can get $100 in your account. And if you make a purchase, I might get a commission, which I greatly appreciate. But now's the time to go check it out, see if there's anything you're interested in, and just follow the link in the description. Put it on manual focus over there. So I think we're working okay. And we have Joe on here that also mentioned fair point. I don't actually know the guy. All of the conduits for AI, they're going to wither unless they figure out how to add value, which that's true. It's very interesting to see how it's going to play out. And it's like there's rare occasions where that first mover sort of situation where if you're first to the market, even if you have like a shitty product, like you're first there and people are paying attention. So there are some tools where I think I heard of one where basically it was just in front end. I think it was just a front end for ChatGPT and it didn't add any value. It was just like a chat bot thing. And they were charging like $8 a month or something like that. Virtually no value as far as I know. I saw someone else talk about it. I didn't check it out myself. Quick other thing I want to point out here is, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago on the actual podcast, is these nootropics that I use. So I'm an affiliate for this, but it is Thesis, which I think you can read there. And the reason why I like Thesis, and I've tested some other nootropics and even talked about them, but a student of mine recommended these several years ago. I think it was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And basically, you could follow the link in the description, by the way. They give you a questionnaire and they ask you about what you're trying to do. I think it probably takes like 2 minutes, but it may be up to 5 if you really think about the questions. But basically, it asks questions like, do you have trouble concentrating? Do you not feel motivated? Do you get started working on something and then drift into something else? And a couple other things like that. Are you tired? Do you feel tired? Do you not get enough sleep? And they'll recommend specific stacks for you. And that's why I like Thesis over many of the other companies, because they have one for clarity, which helps you focus, right? It gives you clarity on what to work on, and then creativity. So often before I do these live streams, like I took one of these stacks before I got started with this, and it helps you. It actually says right here on the box, it's best for brainstorming and creative thinking, writing and creative projects, public speaking, and social situations. So I actually interviewed both founders a few years ago. I should check back in. I think the company is pretty big now, so I don't know if they'll still talk to a lowly YouTuber like myself. But basically, he was like, yeah, I'll take the creativity before I go to like a happy hour or like a networking event. So they have, these little packets. And then, this one has 3 in there, which it also tells you, what it's good for. So if let's say you go on a trip, for example, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to throw it in my backpack. You don't have to remember what each thing is. It tells you what it is. It tells you what it's good for. So you could throw a few in there, which I actually do when I go on conferences or whatever. And I'm actually going to one called Economy coming up here in a little over a month. That's in Cincinnati. I think there's still tickets. It's a financial independence related one. But anyway, you got clarity, you got creativity, and I usually get motivation. There's one called Logic. So if you're doing like spreadsheets or, bookkeeping, stuff like that, and they have, exactly what's in here. So we have like this one has lion's mane, something I can't pronounce, alpha grain, which is alpha GPC, and dihydroxyflavonoid, something like that. Anyway, it tells you what's in here, and it's great. There's a link in the description. Actually, I'm not even directly an affiliate. They just have like a friends program, friends recommendation. So you get $25 off. It's worth it to check out. And I've literally had a subscription for like 5. I don't think I've ever gotten anything free from them. I've always paid and had a subscription, and every, I think 4 to 6 weeks, I'll get a new box, and it'll have my stacks in there. So check it out. All right. And we'll hop back. We'll do a couple other playground things with ChatGPT is full. And Tyamir, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Says ChatGPT will fire us all. See, and that's where I think I'm not worried about it. I mean, it doesn't matter to me, but I think some jobs will change. And I think, I have many ideas on different content that I could do related to ChatGPT and AI. But I think if you're in the freelance writing industry, you may have to, figure out exactly how you want to handle this. I don't think we're going to be in a situation where you're trying to get content for a site that you want to rank in Google. I don't think we're going to be in a situation where those writers are going to go away. I think in the short term, people may try to flood the internet with a bunch of content written specifically just by AI, very little changes, and then it's not going to rank for very long. I don't think Google is going to enjoy that. There have been some tweets and some other information where, Google has said, I think Danny Sullivan, he's like, we haven't said that I'm paraphrasing. They didn't say that they don't want to rank AI specifically. If you read between the lines, you may be able to like reason your way into it. But generally, if it's helpful for the visitor, it's probably okay. There's also some like information. This is like one of the stupidest fucking things that they could write. So again, I'm paraphrasing a lot of stuff, but basically I think it's like the spam guidelines, and it's like Google says, if you're writing content just to get traffic and rank in search engines, they don't like that. They consider it spam, right? Well, is this like all fucking hobby? Like, is everyone just doing this for fun and they don't want anyone to read their stuff? Of course. Some people may have like some specific intrinsic value to publish. And they don't care if anyone reads it. But most people, even the most modest, most humble people, they want others to read their content. They actually do want to rank in the search engine. So that is a really dumb phrase. And people probably know what I'm talking about, but basically, it's a dumb idea overall. But I think it'll be for us, right? We'll have to look. And the whole point of this video was like, how can you use AI to do whatever you're doing better or faster or easier or cheaper? So one cool thing with ChatGPT is you can like ask for formatting. Now, I don't know if the playground will do that, but let's try in just a second here. Joe says, are you in Ezoic Premium? I am. I do find it worth it to upgrade from basic. So for the people that don't know, premium is something that you have to pay for on Ezoic, and it gives you access to premium ads. Typically, those are going to pay more. In fact, you are going to get refunded, not refunded specifically, but like you'll almost always earn more than you would have on basic. And if that's not the case, then you could cancel it and get out of there. But I think basically, don't quote me, check the documentation, check with your account manager. But basically, you should be able to earn more. And if you don't earn more, I think there was a time, again, don't quote me, there was a time where you could be reimbursed, or at least like they would cover the difference, right? Like you're never going to earn less if you go to premium. So I would say test it out. They essentially remove all the risk. So double check the fine print and make sure. Okay, so let's hop back, and another quick shout out for my free resources. Check it out. I'm actually going to put together a one pager also, where it's just like, here's a one pager of the best fucking prompts there are, which I think that might be my afternoon activity. The thing is with these Thesis Nootropics, they last for a few hours. So something like 4 to 6 hours. And basically these live streams only last an hour. So I got some more, brain energy happening here. So let's see. Let's just ask. So this is, one thing you could do with the chat formats. You can see. So can you help me format text? And I don't know. I don't know if it will. And I need to click submit. Okay. So I'll say, so can you format the outline above? Hopefully it'll remember the outline above with a numbered list for HTML. Okay. So we end up with an ordered list. So that's OL, ordered list. And then we have the list item, and it gives us the formatting there. And I'll say, can you, we'll see how smart it is. So I want to rewrite the ordered list or the outline list. With the details from segment 1. So we're like compounding what it's doing. We're pulling together some other details. So technically all of the information should be in here. All right, so they just put in like the extra sentence in here. So it's not really what I'm looking for, but like most of the time, as I mentioned, it may not be doing everything exactly right, but like you get much closer. So if I actually copied and pasted this over to WordPress or wherever, I could just hit return for a new line, hit tab, and it should indent it properly, and then do that for each one of the additional points. So not perfect, but we're 80% of the way there, and it would just take a minute or two. Saves a lot of time. Saves a lot of time generally. Okay. Joe says you're on a 14-day trial. Cool. Yeah. So generally, premium is going to work out better. I would say most of the time. All right. Any other questions out there? And we'll see what other things can we get ChatGPT to do. So formatting might be a good thing. For me, like I said, ideas and generating outlines. I probably know some things that I want to talk about, but it can save me a lot of time just to have it down. Now, as far as like the intro and stuff like that, I think I've mentioned potentially before, maybe in a podcast, I talked about like using ChatGPT or even just the playground chat over here to save a little bit of time in coming up with an outline for, or specifically an intro. So my other podcast, the Mile High Fi, a lot of times like we know what we're going to talk about, and we'll have an outline. Sometimes we'll have like a lot more detailed of an outline too. But a lot of times we don't like write a specific intro, and it would be really fantastic if we could like put in the, like an outline. We could put in our show notes that we are working off of, or the loose outline that we're going to use. And then just say, hey, can you write an intro for a podcast based on this outline that we're going to talk about? And then we could tell it, this is where it gets pretty cool. We could say, we want to have a 300-word intro, or maybe we want it to be like 4 sentences or whatever, but you could tell it exactly what you want. It may not be perfect, right? Again, I've requested a certain word count, or I've requested a certain number of sentences, and sometimes it kind of goes off script and does whatever it wants, but you end up with something that you could work from. And the thing is, if you're like doing a podcast or a YouTube video or something like that, like you don't have to stick to exactly what it says. It's just a guideline. You have it printed out, or maybe, you're just looking at the screen, and you could just like cross out a section if you don't want to read that part. It's pretty easy just to save some time, type a little faster, or at least it'll type faster than you. So as we're wrapping up here, thanks a lot to Odys. Be sure to check out the 40% off deal they have going on selected domains. You can follow the link in the description and get $100 in your account. If you haven't signed up for the AI resources, go check it out. It's 100% free. It's free. I'm not going to charge for it. There are there's several lessons in there already. There's a lot of actually written content in there, and a few videos, few over-the-shoulder videos. When I first put the resources together, I was just playing with Jasper, which, I mean, if you look at those early videos, it's a train wreck compared to what we're doing with ChatGPT. And if you did want to check out Jasper, I actually have a free trial link in the description here. So if you wanted to do a quick test drive, or maybe you don't have the invite from OpenAI yet, that would be a reasonable route. Of course, you can always use the playground area, which, as you saw, it's not quite as good as ChatGPT, but it's pretty close. And I was happy with the information that we were getting back, especially the outline. I seem to remember the chat pretty well. So thanks a lot, Joe. Thanks, other folks. I think Alex is over on his channel. So I'm going to hop over there for a minute. Thanks, everyone. And we'll catch you next week. Oh, you know what? I forgot I was going to play guitar for a minute. So I'm just going to come grab my guitar really quick. And if you don't care, then you could just tune out. But I haven't played in a while. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can play anything specific good enough. We'll try. Like I said, it's been a few weeks, so